It's time for us to continue making sure that we update you and to make sure that you understand the business world from the local perspective, the international perspective, as well as getting to understand which stories are making headlines across the entire business world.
Yes, and speaking about stories, I'll take you back. If you started the show with us, at least we promised to get back to the discussion of borrowing money, what you need to know when you need to borrow money. To what extent should you even borrow money? Do you even need money? For what purposes is the time that you need to borrow money to sustain your businesses, and the extent at which you're borrowing. A case in point we were highlighting when while constructing and targeting, government compensation. You go to the bank, you get a very huge amount of money because you want to construct a mafuta kumpina road reserve. You want to construct a hotel. You want to construct the hospital, clinic, just near or close to a road reserve, targeting a compensation from government, forgetting or not considering that at some point it is getting back to you, because government is going to ask you, number one, the questions that they ask. Did you know that this is a road reserve? And you're going to answer no. That is a very vague, answer at some point, because you're able to use your eyes at least after every kilometer, if not, it's just not even kilometer. After like 800 meters, between 600 meters and 800 meters, UNRWA puts its cement, that road reserve cement, that block that you see standing, it is always written UNRWA. If you all ever see that, that means you're not supposed to encroach that particular land or that particular segmentation of land there whatsoever to construct there. And you go borrow money to construct their targeting, a reserve. You gave an example of that. But as Joram comes in, as I conclude on this one, when do you borrow, or when do you know that now you are in danger? You have they call red flags that you shouldn't be going to the bank to borrow money. Number one, you have got areas or circles whereby, okay, you're saving their money or you're saving money here and there, and you find yourself in a situation where every circle you have got or every place you have got, they're demanding you. I mean, you borrow from Sonko to pay Rita debt. You borrow from Centurita Chivina Circle.
It is actually the trend of the generation. Someone borrows from here, you pay here. It is a trend. You borrow here, you pay here. You borrow, you pay. You borrow, so you end up having.
Where does that leave you financially?
Actually, you look financially stable in a viewer's perspective.
And that is financial indiscipline. Because you're never going to have any money with you.
All the money you get, you're putting it off. But it goes back to, I do believe the reason behind it is, it goes back to the salary earners. In most cases, when you look at the salary earner, you've got a lot of expenses that outbeat your income, or the income that you get at the end of the day, or that you receive on your payroll. So during the entire month, once you run out of cash, the best option is to borrow. Now, once you borrow, the coming month, the first thing you have to do,
pay off debts.
Pay off the debt, because you will actually underline and say, you write down how you're going to spend this monthly income, and you're like, let me first clear off a debt. Now, if you're to say someone is earning 2 million, and during the 2 million situation, you've borrowed 1 million, or let's say 500,000, but you still have rent to pay. So at the end of the day, you first clear rent, you clear off a loan that you took, so you're left with 1 million. So 4 weeks again, you'll be like, this 1 million won't take you again. You'll have to go and get another.
Did you know
at the end of the day, it is
there are people who are not even saving anything at the end of the month when they get their salary? Relatively from what you're saying, it's like they spend the whole salary before they get it.
Exactly. They already know where to put the money. Okay, it's good to plan. If you're planning for your money, it is good to plan for your money. It is your money. So
now we speak speaking about salary earners here, and you need to check yourself where you stand. And after that, you find an alternative.
There was a time
and
I was
we're not
actually-
saying you quit your job, but can you find an alternative means? Either you create, you cut your budget, you cut your expenditure, or you create another source of income.
No,
around
surprisingly, sometimes people tend to say salary earners don't have very huge expenses. But do you know a self-employed person spends more than a salary earner? And this is one of the reasons I do believe businesses tend to close without profits.
A self-employed spends more than a salary earner.
You know why? Because they know money is there every day. I've been in a situation whereby, I'm not saying self-employed, but I've been in a situation whereby money comes in on a daily. That you're having money, you're having 50,000 on a daily, you have 100,000 on a daily. Now, such a lifestyle, you always think, even tomorrow I'm getting the same money. You're going to overspend that money. Now, for a salary earner, sometimes, if I told you you've budgeted well for your money, and you know that, why, it's too I can keep this money, I can use this money.
I disagree, Zora.
No,
Unless you're not a good planner.
No,
Unless you're
if you
not
look
a
at the
good
plans that you
planner.
have, let me just give you a case study of mine. You're saying, Jerome, you're earning this money. How are you going to spend the money? You're like, okay, this money will meet this money will meet this. Now there's always that portion of money that has nothing to do at a moment in your plan.
Didn't you answer the same? Didn't I ask you the same thing a day before? And you're like, you, Joram, you're managed to have nothing to do.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, okay, let me get back to the situation.
Okay.
So that money, there's always that money. Okay, like, there is no money that has nothing to do, but there is that money that is not in the plan as of now. Yes, and you've not planned for it, or you've planned for other things, and you're like, oh, there is that excess money. So you're like, okay, let me first put that money aside. Then you first utilize this. You clear off certain things that you're supposed to clear. Then you because you know that is where you're going to have your plan. Now, for someone who makes money on a daily, he will be like, no, why worry? I will have to use this one. Relatively, they'll just. I use the money anyhow. You're receiving 50,000 today. They say you go to a restaurant, a posh restaurant, you eat good food, you know. And at the end of the day, you're like, even tomorrow I'll still maintain the same lifestyle.
Unless you're not a good
But
planner.
when you look at that, no,
I'm not saying that does not happen. It happens.
But when you look at that, but as a salary earner, you can plan well for your money.
But do you know, people who make money on a daily, unless you do not want, unless that's when I said, do you know your purpose? Do you know what even you want? You can't tell me at the end of the week or at the end of the month if you want to buy something, if you've got a budget that you're going to spend how you spend on a daily. That means it will require you to set an amount and you drop that off. You either save it in the bank, wherever you save it in the circle, save it for investment. There is now where you can save, you know, other saving materials that are there for, or investment companies that are there. You can save that money there. Do not allow yourself to be in a situation where your money is idle. Your money has got nothing to do. Because that money that is idle right about now, the next hour is going to be valuable. The next hour, its value is going to change in case you know the right thing to do with it. And that's why we're here to tell you that, hey, there is space that you can put money there. For example, you can put that money in a capital markets. You can put it in stocks, or you can invest it in investment companies, so that your money can have value. At least there are people you say who were living that way. And we're here to change that perspective, because at the end of the day, if you want to build your wealth, you want to plan for your retirement, there is that kind of change you need to create around you. At least I hope you have learned about something. Maybe to tackle, as we conclude, Jerome, on this discussion on the reasons of borrowing. We were speaking about when you realize that I don't need to borrow. You don't need to borrow if you see that, hey, Your debts are here. Your debts zikutuga. They are almost on your neck, chopping off your neck. Can you now, this is the time you're going to a self-rehab and meditate and pray to God and find something to do with your hands and go and make money. I'm not advising you to go and do another 6th debt, borrowing from a 6th person, 6th organization, going to a 4th microfinance when the other 4 circles are demanding at the same time. You're going to put yourself in danger, under stress, and you'll end up dying. And we do not want to lose you. What you do, try to go find something to do that is going to help you create income for at least 1 circle. If you make a 1 circle payment or 1 circle debted clear,